Michael Jaafar. I was telling Judge Ashley, Friday or one day last week, that I'm really coming around on who this guy was. Initially, I thought maybe he was manipulated, but what I'm seeing is someone who is actually extremely manipulative. And, you know, again, I think the two of them got together and it created a powder cake situation. But this guy, no doubt in my mind, is a manipulator.
You know, Michael, I completely agree, but I'm still shell-shocked from cases like the Robert Durst case and other cases where I really believe that a jury would not buy anything that person was trying to sell. And then you see in cases like, for example, the Robert Durst case, he said, I killed this person, but, you know, I covered up the body after killing them, but I killed them in self-defense, but I covered up the body because, you know, I didn't know what to do. I was afraid. And then later on, after he got acquitted, he admitted that he was a villain, right? So I'm still a little bit shell-shocked. I agree with everything your co-panelist said, by the way. Her assessment of the case is completely spot on. With that being said, do I feel like there is no chance of an acquittal in this case on at least on the charge of him killing his wife? I'm not going to go that far. He still has a shot. It's a little bit more than a Hail Mary, but it's not 50-50. He's still got a shot, but you are right. The guy is a manipulator, but also in a normal paradigm, none of us would do what he does. But he thought he was a prophet. And the people around him thought he was a prophet. And some people didn't believe he was a prophet, and some people did. He still hasn't divorced, for example, his wife, who's already been convicted of the most villainous acts possible, killing her own children.
He loves her, Michael. Michael, he loves her.
So,
but he loves her. Michael, you know, it's interesting because what I think is really important here is by painting him as a liar and by painting him as someone who's manipulative, I think they can get over the hump with Tammy, even without that direct evidence. So I think that is a big part of their case. All right, guys, stand by. We're going to get folks back into court right now, where another cousin of Tammy Daybell is now on the stand. It is time now for today's Talkback segment. The long-awaited killer or cover-up murder trial against Karen Reed got underway today. Now, Reed is accused of hitting her Boston police officer boyfriend, John O'Keefe, and then leaving him to die in the snow after a night of drinking back in 2022. Now, she's facing second-degree murder charges, amongst others. In today's opening statements, the prosecution continued making their claim that Karen Reed is a murderer. But the defense hammered on their belief that Reed is being framed as part of a larger cover-up by Boston police. So today we asked you, what did you think of today's opening statements? Joining us to discuss, and National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar. All right, guys, our first comment comes from Mark. Mark says, that was probably the most boring opening statement from a prosecution team I have witnessed since I started watching Court TV in 2021. All right, Mark has strong feelings. Michael, I'll start with you. I know you have feelings about it because I think all of us here at Court TV felt like something was lacking in that opening statement by the state. They gave all the facts, but there was no story. There was nothing there to sink your teeth into, and I think it was a misstep.
I'm riveted by this case, been waiting for months. The implications are going to be massive. I don't know if I agree with Mark, and I'll tell you why. The state knows the playbook of the defense. So they're playing to the playbook of the defense because it's such a repulsive and repugnant defense that's coming. Think about it. If you're the prosecution and you basically are advocating for the police, you know that the defense are going to come out and say, every single one of you guys is Darth Vader. You guys are liars. You guys are deceivers. Every one of you is crooked and corrupt. They're impugning the entire integrity, not just of the prosecution and the police, but the entire system. You're the prosecution, you know that. You don't want to play into that. So you want to come in there lower, more meek. Just look at their first witness. Their first witness was the brother of the slain officer, right? And he came out. How's the defense going to come up there and eviscerate him? They weren't expecting that. They were expecting an examiner, an investigator to come on so they can say, aren't you corrupt? Didn't you know him? Didn't you know that? So I feel like they came out the way they should come out, given what they're going to face on the other side.